Hello everyone, my name is Pablo Duarte and I am in the low intermediate level in my English class. Now I want to talk about uh, one video in the TED Talk, and the topic is um, emotional responses to music. But first, I want to explain and what does that mean? Music. Music is essential to many for of our lives. We listen to it when waking up, while in transit, at work, and with our friends. For many, music is like a constant combination. It can bring us joy and motivate us, accompany us through difficult times, and alleviate our worries. Music is much more than mere entertainment. It has been a future of every known human society. Anthropologists and sociologists have yet to find a single culture throughout the course of human history that has not had music. In fact, many evolutionary psychologists and many evolutionary psychologists today make the argument that music predate languages. Primitive tribes and religious practice have used music to reach enlightened states for thousands of years, and Pythagoras used music to help different psychological and physical ailments. Currently, cutting edge scientific research has shown the effect that music has on the brain, the individual, and society. Music is very important in people's daily lives because due to it different emotions are created within each one and generates chemical reactions in the brain that cause each person to react depending on their mode, but which is also influenced by the kind of music you are listening to. In the TED Talk video that I saw, he talked about emotional expression of music and emotional responses to music, and mentioned four possible explanations of why music influences us a lot depending on the state of mind we find or that the song transmits to us. The four explanation of the video are: number one is learn associations. Then listen to two different recordings. Okay, and the second record is okay, one that sounded happy and the other that sound sad, and to identify the emotion that is transmitting the music, each person had to have live a joyful experience with music of this type, and this is the association that it's created. In the same way, it happens with the recording that sound negative. The second is musical expectation, that is based on our daily experience with the music we acquire, or sounds, musical patterns of musical styles that you may have experienced once you were in your car and heard a song that you had never heard, and yet it is possible that have still been able to sing along with that song because you have musical knowledge about the probabilities of music patterns. Then your knowledge about musical syntax, and this knowledge can create expectation, and this expectation can become emotions. For example, you can anticipate that something in the music will come that you like a lot, and it will create pleasure. It could also have create tension because you know that something in the music is coming, but you don't know when and what is going to happen, and there may also be a surprise. For example, listen to the next piece musical. This was very unexpected and difficult to predict from the musical structure. Okay, the third explanation says that music induces emotions due to the emotional express, expressions of movement and taking a look at happiness and sadness again. When we are happy and sad, we have a subjective feeling of happiness and sadness associated with these emotions. However, there are also particular behaviors that according to that can be why we experience happiness and sadness, and when we are happy we tend to be active and get closer to things. We are moving at a fast way. However, when we are sad we become slow. The way we stop our current behavior, we are frustrated because we do not reach a certain goal, and along with these moments there are also expressions and this expression of emotion that can show that we are injured. In the next recording is a person that feels maybe happy and maybe sad, and you decide that.
Have fun. Again.
All right.
Okay, the steps you hear are with a fast pace. Even for the sound of the steps, that is something that we discover in the studio. People can recognize the emotional state of the person and then listen to steps with a slower read expressing a sad mode. And if the two expressions are compared, the first recording, you can hear a person with a high tone of voice and a fast rhythm at the time of walking, and in the second recording you can hear a person with a low tone of voice and a slow pace at the time of walking. In conclusion, that the first recording corresponds to a person is happy and the second to a person is sad. Okay, the fourth explanation of these feelings is that the music activating the internal sound of each person, since it has a very diverse influence on our sympathetic nervous system, where that creates a subjective orientation or tension and physiological arousal. This could be similar to your alarm clock in the morning that wakes you up when you hear the sound. Okay, the main ideas about this video is the first, he says that this is based on us learn association. The second says that this is due to his knowledge about musical structure that accumulate musical expectation. And the third says that is expressive movements of the actor, and the fourth is that the sounds acted the first and two. The mechanisms are based on learning and can explain why our emotion can sometimes be very rich when we listen to music can be very individual and different. However, the two lower mechanisms and explanation that you just present to you can be based on more patterns of universal response and help in explaining why our responses are something very similar and maybe unites us is shared creation with experience. The Frontiers in Psychology published an article by Hussein Abullah, Arkman, Hesper Hohagen, Brian Patton, and Nikki, who talks about emotional responses to music and recent studies have demonstrated increased activity in brain regions associated with emotion and reward when listening to pleasure music. Unspec change in musical features, intensity, and tempo, and their enhanced tension and anticipation is proposed to be one of the primary mechanisms by which music induces a strong emotional response in listeners. These findings provide empirical support for the proposal that change in basic musical features is a fundamental trigger of emotional response in listeners. And in other research that talks about measuring the emotional power of music is an interview with Professor Marcel Sentner, who is a professor of psychology at the University of Innsbruck, Australia. Research shows that music induces numerous types of emotion, more in fact than the blunt categories usually referred to, such as happiness or sadness. It's obvious that these categories do not capture the richness of feeling in response to music, says Sedner. It is not secret that music elicits happiness or positive affects, so the merit lies not in stating the obvious, but in specifying musical happiness in all of these multiple forms. Thank you very much.